Hey everybody, welcome back. Mike from Spectre Comics. So I was recently scrolling through an artist forum and I was looking for some potential future topics for videos for this channel, and I came across a thread where somebody asked the question, is a digital artist really an artist? And I was a little taken back by that because as somebody who primarily works digitally, it didn't even occur to me that somebody would think that I wouldn't be considered an artist. So I used to be somebody who worked, strictly with pencil on paper. I would ink on paper, paint, colored pencil, markers, anything, you name it. I probably worked on it at some point, and I do appreciate that. But once I kind of discovered the ability to draw digitally on a tablet with a computer and using Photoshop, it really opened the door to a whole new way to create. And specifically for what I do with my comics, it just really helped streamline the process, make it more efficient, and end up really getting a better result. So 100%, I think somebody who is a digital artist is an artist, and I'll explain a little more as we go into this video. But I first want to say that I still do really appreciate drawing on, pencil and paper. When I do my comics, when it comes to my comics, I still start each page by laying it out on paper before I even get to the computer. So I'll take a page, I'll lay it out, sketch it real quick. The nice thing is I can take it anywhere. If I'm working on my digital tablet, the tablet's here. My computer's here, the tablet's connected to my computer. If I'm working digitally, I got to be sitting at this desk. Whereas if I'm working on pencil and paper, I can take it with me. If I'm at work, if I'm on vacation, if I'm not here, I can go anywhere and work with pencil and paper. And then another reason is because I can take out a piece of paper and a pencil and just sketch really quickly, get a layout down, and before I even get to the computer and mess with all this stuff, I can just kind of lay something out on pencil and paper. So for those two reasons, I enjoy working on pencil paper. Actually, a couple of my recent videos, my Batman and my Moon Knight drawing videos, I actually went ahead and drew on paper with pencil a fairly complete characters before I even scanned it in the computer and did the final inking and coloring in Photoshop. So, I still do enjoy drawing on paper. So I moved to work digitally primarily to take advantage of some of the tools and some of the efficiencies that a program like Photoshop had to offer. For instance, now I can move, copy, rotate. I can scale things up or down. I created a library so I can not have to draw things repetitively over and over again. I can just take a drawing that I had done before, pop it into a new page, and then I can manipulate it to change it a little bit instead of having to redraw the whole thing over and over again. Sometimes use the same backgrounds over again and from panel to panel. So it's nice to just draw it once and then you can reproduce it over and over again on the page or in other pages. So for that reason, it really makes the process a lot more efficient because there's a lot less extra drawing. Another reason is because my work is meant to be printed and reproduced. So having a nice high quality digital copy in PDF form or JPEG form or whatever you need to have it in to get printed, it's nice to have that right off the bat, and working in a digital program in a digital format makes that really easy. Now, my comic making process before I went digital was a lot of steps. I had to sketch the page out on paper. I had to hardline that on paper with pencil. I would then ink that page over the pencils. Then I would scan that into the computer and do this whole long process of cleaning up the pencils and the extraneous ink. On top of that, the quality of the scanned image was not as good because when you scan in an inked page, it just is grainy and not sharp, and you have to darken all the blacks, and you have extraneous pencil lines that are there that don't go away very easily. So there was just all this extra process. Then I would add text in digitally and clean up the drawing again, finalize it, and save it as a PDF ready to go to the printer. After I started going with the digital process, I saved a ton of steps. Now I could still lay the page out on pencil, just doing a quick sketch, but instead of having to hardline the whole page before it got to the computer, I could actually sketch it on pencil, scan it to the computer, go ahead and start inking on the computer. So save the whole step of having to do a final hardline drawings on paper, scan it to the computer, do the inks on the paper. There's no cleanup because I just have to turn off the pencil layer. As long as you set up your layers properly, you just turn off the pencils. It's all gone. And then again, adding the text and the dialogue and finalizing saving for PDF. So I've saved like 2 huge steps in that whole process. I end up with a better high quality image that can be reproduced and saved and reprinted and printed over and over again. And there's no question of the efficiencies that are brought by you going digital. And as a result, I get a much higher quality final product. Now, to answer the specific question, is a digital artist really an artist? You first have to answer the question, what is an artist? And to me, an artist is a creative person who creates something. And it doesn't really matter what tools they use to create that thing. The artist still has to come up with an idea and then create something. And whether it's a drawing, a sculpture, a painting, a piece of music, artist as a definition is such a broad thing. And the person still has to have the creative ability and the creative nature inside them to create something. So if I create some artwork digitally, it absolutely is a piece of art, and I am the artist of that work. Now, the drawing program, the tablet, that doesn't make somebody who can't draw able to draw. It doesn't make somebody who's not creative creative. You still have to have the ability inside you, and you have to have the extra knowledge of knowing how to draw on a tablet, knowing how to use the program that you're using, and then putting those all together to create and execute something that is what we would consider a piece of art. I've actually created several videos where how to draw with Photoshop, how to draw on a tablet, tips for using a tablet. I'll link those in the description below. Now, this banner behind me was created digitally. I actually started with a hand sketch drawing, and then I scanned that into the computer and I drew all the characters digitally. I painted it digitally. I've got a whole video. I'll also link that in the description where I'm creating the video showing the whole process from starting with pencil, scanning in the computer, and then working digitally, moving stuff around. And you'll actually notice that the pencil sketch that I started with was completely different from what this final result ended up being, because as I started inking and moving things around, and I put all the characters on different layers so that I can work with them independently, I started realizing that I wanted to change the composition a little bit. And then what ultimately happened after I drew it, painted it, put shadows and highlights in there, and then created this nice banner and then got it printed, I just thought it really turned out well. Again, I will link the video in the description below so you can see the whole process if you're interested. Now, my entire point is the tools shouldn't matter. The medium shouldn't matter. You've probably seen pictures hanging in a gallery of somebody who splattered some paint on a canvas, gave it a funny name, and then charges $75,000 for it. I actually had a friend in college who bought a painting, and I looked at it, and it was basically an inclined plane with a square kind of tilting, kind of looked like the square was falling down a hill. And I was just like, how much did you pay for that? I just didn't get it. I would never pay money for something like that because it doesn't seem like it requires much skill to do. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just ignorant on what art is. I guess I figure if anybody can do it, it's not art. And but it's still a piece of art. So I guess, it's an artist. I don't really, it's debatable what one considers art, and maybe it's subjective. Maybe, different people think different things. Again, I wouldn't pay for something like that. Anything that I could do myself, I wouldn't pay somebody to create for me. I don't care if they're famous or, that's just the way I am. It's all about having the ability to create and knowing what tools you can use to create whatever you're making. So I 100% think that a digital artist is really an artist. It's not even a question in my head, but I'm curious to know what you think. So go ahead and put a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious to know what the larger group thinks of this topic. That's it for this video. I do have links to everything that I talked about in this video. So various other videos that I did, the banner, some Photoshop drawing tips, drawing on a digital tablet. Those will be linked in the description below. I also have links to all of the tools that I use to make my videos and my art in the description below. So go ahead and check that out as well. That is it for this video. Hope you have a great day. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching.